A major snowstorm and an Arctic blast are the main highlights in today's forecast. Welcome to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below. It's absolutely free to do, and you get detailed weather breakdowns across North America and the tropics. Also, be sure to press the thumbs up button down below. It helps out more than you know. Getting into the weather forecast, we had a lot of rainfall across southern Florida over the past 3 days. We saw double-digit rainfall totals down near the Miami and Miami Beach region, with some areas receiving over 12 inches of rain. So definitely a lot of rain for southern Florida and the state of Florida. Lots of 1 to 2 inch rainfall amounts as well, all the way up toward Panama City and Tallahassee. So definitely some wet weather over the past several days. Now, as we move into today, we have some wet weather, but not for Florida. It's going to be moving away from Florida over the western Atlantic basin. We are watching a cold front that is sneaking down through the Ohio Valley and the Tennessee Valley today. This could be bringing some scattered to numerous showers and a few thunderstorms along with it, from western Pennsylvania down through Ohio and Kentucky. Otherwise, very dry across the middle of the country and the western part of the country today and as we go into tonight. And looking at that cold front as it moves through the Ohio and Tennessee River Valley, ahead of that front across the southeast, temperatures will be into the 60s and 70s. And then behind the front, we're going to be seeing temperatures crashing into the 40s. So areas in the Midwest that saw the 60s for high temperatures on Thursday will be replaced by the 40s as we go into this afternoon. So a little bit of a shock to the system with our high temperatures up there in the upper Midwest this afternoon compared to your Thursday. And then as we go into this weekend, we've been talking about a stronger low pressure system just off the coast of Cape Cod. This is going to be an eastern loaded storm. So a lot of the precipitation and the impacts will be to the east of the low pressure system, away from the northeast and New England coast. But we will still see some impacts with some rain showers, even some snow showers mixing in up toward Caribou, Maine, as we go into this weekend on Saturday into Saturday night. Like I said, though, the strong winds for the most part will be on the eastern side of the system away from New England, but we could have some northerly winds across Cape Cod, Long Island, and portions of New England that could be gusting over 30 miles per hour at times this upcoming weekend, so be on the lookout for that. Looking at this storm as it moves up into eastern Canada this weekend, especially by Sunday for Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, this will be bringing onshore flow. We've been talking about this over the last few days. We could be seeing double-digit foot waves across portions of the coastline of Nova Scotia and Newfoundland as we go into this weekend, so be watching out for that, especially if you live near the coastline in those areas. Otherwise, for the rest of us, our eyes are on the next major system, and this is going to be moving a lot further to the south than this other system was. As we go into late this weekend, it'll be making inroads across the southwestern United States and then pivoting its way across the Dixie Alley region and the eastern side of the country as we go into early next week. And what this will be doing is presenting the threat for heavy snow, heavy rain, and severe weather. So let's take a look first at the severe weather threat. This is on Sunday. We have some instability here. Anytime you see dew points 55 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, that's when you start to see the potential for severe weather arise. And you can see the 55 degree dew points go all the way up into central Oklahoma near the Oklahoma City area, towards Tulsa, and then further to the south into Texas as we go into Sunday. That shifts across the Dixie Alley region as we go into Monday with those 50 and 60 degree dew points. And then by the time we get to Tuesday, those 50 and 60 degree dew points will be across the southeast coast and up as far north as maybe the Delmarva region. So definitely seeing the potential for some thunderstorms at the very least, but maybe even some severe weather on Tuesday. So let's look at Sunday here. The coverage of showers and storms on Sunday will be more scattered, so not seeing a lot of heavy rain on Sunday for a lot of areas, but there could be some pockets of some heavier thunderstorms across Kansas, Oklahoma, and down into North Texas. Same could be true across portions of Arkansas and Louisiana Sunday into Sunday night. We have the backwash moisture, cold air aloft on the backside, producing some heavier snows in the higher elevations of the Rockies. But we're really keeping an eye on that threat for severe weather on Sunday from the Tulsa region back through Oklahoma City, Ardmore, and then as far south as the Dallas-Fort Worth area. As we go into Sunday, the main mode will be damaging winds and large hail, but an isolated brief tornado cannot be ruled out on Sunday. Then as we go into Monday, we're going to start to see more numerous and widespread coverage of showers and thunderstorms across the Dixie Valley region, across portions of East Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, getting into Mississippi, western Alabama, and then on up into Tennessee. And those will be the areas impacted by the severe weather threat on Monday, from just south and east of Shreveport there toward Baton Rouge, Alexandria, Louisiana, further to the east toward Jackson, Mississippi, and possibly even toward the Mobile and Montgomery, Alabama region as we go into Monday. And then this entire storm system, as it matures and pushes further to the east, we're going to see some widespread rain and thunderstorm activity for the East Coast on Tuesday. I do think on Tuesday, probably a lesser threat for severe weather, but certainly something to keep an eye on if you live in Virginia, the Carolinas, or down into Georgia, North Florida, those areas for severe weather on Tuesday. Otherwise, a big snowstorm is in the cards across the southeastern Canada into Ontario and Quebec, the upper Great Lakes region, as we go into Tuesday into Wednesday by the early and mid portion of next week. And looking at the soil moisture, folks, I mean, we need the rainfall, we need the precipitation here across portions of the eastern side of the country. It's been very active across the Pacific Northwest as of late. We really need the rainfall and the precipitation across especially the Gulf Coast here. That's well below average precipitation that we've been seeing here, and we're going to get it. So here's our rainfall accumulation Sunday through the middle of next week on Wednesday, November 22nd. Widespread coverage across the entire southeast of 1 to 3 inches worth of rain. That works its way up into portions of the mid-Atlantic and into the Northeast and New England, and even into southeastern Canada with that moisture as we go through the middle of next week. Looking at the snow side, we are seeing some heavy snow and a snowstorm for southeastern Canada, for Ontario and Quebec, and possibly parts of interior New England and the upper Great Lakes region into the United States as well. It remains to be seen which weather model is going to be correct here. The European model keeps most of the heaviest snows across the portions of southeastern Canada, but the GFS model, the American model, pushes the heaviest snows down into Wisconsin, parts of Michigan here, even parts of the Northeast like upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine getting in on some heavier snow. So we'll continue to watch this as we go through next week to see which model wins out here. And it's very possible it's kind of a mix of both, where we see a little bit of snow for the areas into the Northeast and the upper Midwest, and some heavier snows into southeastern Canada. But nonetheless, as we get through the long range, especially through Thanksgiving Day, the backside of that storm system will be presenting us with some very cold temperatures for the eastern 2/3 of the country as we go into next week. And previewing Thanksgiving Day, here are your high temperatures across the north into southern Canada and the northern tier of the United States. Temperatures will be hard pressed to get out of the single digits, the teens, or the 20s. So it's going to be very cold to the north, mild but still below average across the southern tier of the United States. Widespread 50s, maybe a couple of 60s down there into Texas, but most of us are into the 50s on Thanksgiving Day. Factor in the wind chill with those winds out there. Southern Canada, yeah, with that fresh snowpack, it will be tough to get above the 0 degree mark with our wind chills as we go across portions of Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec, and then further to the south into the upper Midwest as well. So definitely seeing some colder air further to the south as we go into Thanksgiving. And just looking at the precipitation map for Thanksgiving Day, very quiet, but we will be keeping an eye on a clipper system or a Pacific hybrid type of clipper that moves in across the northern Rockies into Idaho, into Montana, and Wyoming as we go into Thanksgiving Day, and that could present us with potentially a few inches of additional snow for the very snowy Rockies that we've seen early on this season. We'll be adding to those snow totals out there for the season across Montana, across Idaho, and into Wyoming on Thanksgiving Day, and then we'll start to see that clipper or Pacific hybrid type of storm track where we see it coming in from the northwest out of northwest flow and then turning back up across the Midwest and into the Northeast as we go into late November. So looking as we go into Friday, this is the day after Thanksgiving, that snow line could be pushing further and further to the south. Remember, the cold air will be in place after Thanksgiving to support some wintry precipitation, whether it's a mix of rain and snow or sleet or freezing rain or all snow remains to be seen, but definitely seeing some colder weather further to the south. And there are signs that as we get in toward the following weekend, we could be talking about a couple inches of snow, possibly as far south as Colorado, Kansas, getting into Missouri, northern Illinois, and then getting across portions of Michigan there as we go into the following weekend, the last weekend in November. And the Climate Prediction Center, the experts out there as well, are showing the potential, a slight risk of heavier snow for that 24th through November 30th timeframe, right straight through the last weekend in November. That snow line could be pressing as far south as the Amarillo region, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, possibly as far south as Albuquerque there into New Mexico. So definitely seeing that potential as we go through the long range into late November. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel down below for detailed weather breakdowns across North America and the tropics. Be sure to press the thumbs up button down below if you liked today's video and today's weather content, and I hope everybody has a great rest of their Friday out there.